Here we are with UX career journey number 5. Lots to talk about today. So here are the bullet points. 1, I have a new portfolio. 2, I have an upcoming job interview. 3, I'm working on a personal finance passion project of mine. 4, I'm going to wrap up with some other miscellaneous news. So let's go. First thing, new portfolio. Here's how it happened. So I took my former portfolio, which we'll look at in a second, and I shopped it around for some feedback in a different corner of the internet. And as a result, I got some feedback that was wildly different from feedback I have previously received. It was to the effect that I should start over, build it from the ground up, focusing on a minimalist structure and so on. I shared this feedback with some others who have previously looked at my portfolio in depth and said, no, that's crazy, your portfolio is great, it's just a bad time for people in this field. But the thing is that some people are managing to get callbacks and interviews, and if I'm not one of them, there must be something different I can try. I've iterated on my materials and approach all along the way, so before I show you the new portfolio, let's look at the old one. So here we've got a vector self-portrait in the logo at the top with the statement. Some variant of process cyan has been my signature color since the Neat and Keen brand was started. We scroll down, we see the case study links come in from the sides with some animations. I tried to punch up the backgrounds with some custom gradients. Let's take a look at the About page. There's a blurb about myself. There's an optional video introduction, a link to my resume, and some frequently asked questions. So now let's take a look at the new version. Bam! White and black, simple and vanilla. I've retained the mini videos for my case study icons. The scroll as you go animations are all gone. The resume is on a separate page. I might add an icon or button to allow someone to download a PDF of the resume. I'd also like to revisit my resume summary. That's another subject altogether. The About page is super simple. I'll probably iterate on this more, maybe add a couple other things, but when I compared my About page to others, mine was fairly long. I still have to go through the case studies and adjust their structure to match, but they were already largely black and white, so I'm hoping that's just a few tweaks here and there. Overwhelmingly, everyone who has looked at the new version likes it better, which makes me wonder if designers kind of travel in different cliques or bubbles, or were too many people just too nice to tell me my portfolio sucked. I might come back and try to inject some more personality into it in subtle ways, maybe a light shade of gray for the background, or a super subtle texture. I always kind of like paper fibers as a motif. That doesn't always jive with digital product designers. Number 2, the job interview. So I have a job interview later this week for a senior warehouse tech position at a local distribution center. This is a fancy way of saying, assuming I get the job, that I'll be driving a forklift again. The pros, I don't have to worry about where my next paycheck is coming from. I'll work from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. so I can continue to look for product design roles during the day, more or less. Cons, sounds like they're working a lot of mandatory overtime. I get the impression they're working 48-hour weeks. That's going to make it very difficult to do things like tech fleet or hackathons or whatever those extra things are that look good on a resume. Other cons, I just don't want to. I can't tell you how much I don't want to get back to driving a forklift around a warehouse. If you recall, a couple months ago, I had an opportunity to do this. It didn't work out. This time around, assuming I get this job, it's 3 miles from my house. I know other people who work there, so that's a benefit. I still don't want to do it, but I'm at a point where I've got to do something. I can't keep hoping for a product design role any day now. Number 3, personal finance project. For now, instead of partnering up with a hackathon or a nonprofit group to work on a project, I've started chipping away at my own passion project concerning personal finance literacy and habit forming. And I may do a whole video on this at some point, so without going into a ton of detail, there tends to be a lot of lacking resources for medium to lower income earners with less than $100,000 in assets under management. So I have been asking the question, is it possible to build a platform that would help people learn and implement sound financial habits? Last week, I attended a webinar on how to get certified as an accredited financial counselor. This is a designation that's not super popular, but it has been around for 40 years. Unfortunately, it mostly addressed the details of how to obtain the certification and not what it was like to be a professional with that designation. So I might try to talk with some AFC professionals and get some insights there. I also just read The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. I can't recommend it enough if you are even vaguely interested in the topic. There are a lot of parallels between losing weight and getting in shape and learning good financial habits. What makes some financial habits so difficult is that, unlike getting in shape, some of the principles for building wealth are counterintuitive. They are so counterintuitive, in fact, that a lot of finance professionals get these things wrong. And this was pointed out a number of times in Morgan Housel's book. As I said, I don't want to get into too much detail, but I'll continue to chip away at this project as time and mood permit. Finally, some miscellaneous other stuff that's going on. Working on this personal finance project has got me thinking more about my own personal finances. Unfortunately, I have spent far more than anticipated during this career journey. So in addition to looking for full-time work, even if that means being a forklift driver, I'm looking at other ways to bring in some money, pay down some bills. I have a yard sale planned for later this week. I'm looking to maybe open my Etsy store soon because every dollar helps. I'm also giving some consideration into hosting paid workshops for, say, Figma or Simplice or something else where I'm something of a subject matter expert. But of course, I can't do something like that until you put it together, test it, iterate on it, and who knows when I'm going to get around to making that happen. Recently, I coded a website using Bootstrap for the first time, just as sort of a mini personal challenge. I've got a couple technical things I'm working out, but you can check it out at johneverettmorton.com if you like. This week, I'm bringing back the UX Job Seekers Huddle. If I end up getting this warehouse job, I'll either have to stop doing that or do it at a completely different time. And on a personal level, I am still doing my own car repairs as necessary and chipping away at this guitar build that is now 2 years in the making. And that's all I've got. I'm still fighting the good fight. Reach out if any of the things I covered today resonate with you, and thank you for watching.